Okay, so here I'm going to try to show the basics on how to create a grid intersect file in AutoCAD, Carlson, and load it into a data card that will go into Leica 1203. And then we can take, if all that works, then we can take that same file back out of the gun as if it was created in the gun and load it into a new drawing and XREF that into a background drawing. Okay, so I've opened Carlson and let's open a drawing to work off of. I've got this drawing as it came from the architects, drawn in architectural scale, not oriented, not scaled, not anything, but for all intents and purposes, this should just be fine. So I'm going to isolate the grid lines, and I can see just by clicking on that they are a block. I'm going to explode that block, and then I'm going to isolate that layer so that the only thing showing on my screen are those grid intersects, the grid lines, and their bubble designators. Let's look at our settings. Our drawing setup, horizontal scale. Make note that this is a 50 right now. We'll say OK. And we will do just a quick experiment to see what happens. So I've opened the draw locate points command, and I see this point symbol that I'm not too crazy about. I'm going to change that to a 32 because I do like 32. I'm going to turn off the prompts for both descriptions and elevations because I don't care to have either one of those here. And I'm going to ignore this. We could turn this on or off. It doesn't matter for what we're doing for this particular file. We don't care if the points are at a located real z-axis. In this case, they will be at the same elevation as those grid lines. Assuming they're all at 0, that's where they'll be. I am going to leave the point numbers checked and automatic point numbering checked. My starting point number is going to be F1. The way this automatic point numbering system works is that this end digit will progress. So the first point will be a F1, second point F2, F3, so on. If it was the other way around, a 1/A, it would progress 1A, 1B, 1C. But because I chose to do it this way, the most effective way to get the most number of correct labeling with the configuration here, I only have to change it every 14 points instead of every 7 points. Okay, so anyways, let's just get right to it in the screen pick. You can see that the cursor only snaps on the intersection because I have put my settings, I've cleared all and chosen intersection as the only box to be checked. When I click on that intersection, it's asking me for a CRD. That is where the points are stored. The default folder location is the same folder where this drawing came out of, block 45. So that's fine. My CRD file will go back in there. The default file name is the same as the drawing that we opened, but I want to call my CRD, my coordinate file, I'm going to call it grids, and open. Points 1 and 2. Okay, that's not what we want to see. I'm going to points, edit points, delete row, edit, delete row, save and exit. Those points are gone. Let's go back into points. Oh, I also noticed that when we were looking at that point there, it was a little small. I'm going to bump this 50 up to 200. Okay. Go back to points. Draw locate. 32. Uncheck, uncheck. And we are going to start with F/1. Screen pick. There it is, F1, F2, and now, because the only place it snaps is the intersection, I can back out just a little bit and safely know that my points will go only at the grid line intersections. The next one will be a E1, so I need to go back up to points, draw locate points, and change to E1, screen pick again, E1, 2, 3, 4, and so on down the line. There. So that's the basics of how to create a CRD file with points with convenient point numbering system that is recognizable and easy to call up in the instrument. Okay, so let's go back up to points, export text ASCII file. Point format is point number, northing, easting, elevation, description. That is the same as the way we have our instrument set up. We could modify this, but this is our standard for most jobs. And okay. I'm going to create a new text file. So there it is. Our CRD file is now going to be a text file, and I'm going to put it in the removable disk, which is in this case the card that came out of the Leica 1203, inserted into an adapter and plugged into the USB port on the side of my laptop. And I'm going to put it in the data folder. Okay. Open. Excuse me. File successfully written. Okay. So now let's take a look at that. Computer. Removable disk, data, grids text. This is the file that we just now created and put in the card that will go into the 1203. Okay, So there's that one. Now, let's create a new file. I'm going to use this template that I set up. That's my default. Because it's the way I like to see my drawing when it's new. It's got all the tools where I like them. It's got my Carlson menu up and in place, and the grids off, all that good stuff. Everything just the way I like it. No ribbon. I really don't care for that ribbon. It takes up too much space, and it's too many keystrokes to get where I want to go. So, I've got a new blank drawing 2, no CRD open. I'm going to import a file, a text / ASCII file. This is as if the guys in the field recorded a set of points, as build, or what have you, and turned them into a text file and loaded them into the correct folder, the data folder in the card. Pay attention to the coordinate order. In this case, we're looking for a point number, northing, easting, elevation, description, with a comma delimiter between each digit. So this is PYXZD. Common formats. I can choose any one of these. Just by clicking on it, it will change over here. This one would be easting, northing, elevation, description without the comma. We don't want that. I want YXZD with comma. And select the file. So it will be an existing file, and it will be in the F drive, which is the adapter, the USB port that the adapter is plugged into that has the card in it. And the guys in the field converted the data file into a text file and inserted it into the data folder. So I choose the data folder, OK, and on this box on the right here, it shows me all the text files that are in that folder. Coincidentally, it's the same one that we just put there, but we can imagine that this was an as-build. So that one right there, I click it. That is the one that we're choosing to import. It gives us a little preview here. You can see the format. We've got a point number, a comma, a set of numbers, a comma, a set of numbers, a comma, and a set of numbers. By looking at these numbers and the format that it's in, I can tell that this is the correct way that we want it to look. The northing value, easting, elevation. And open. And OK. Now it's converting it into a CRD file. So we choose to make it a new. We could have appended it, but in this case I want, to an existing file. But in this case I want to create a new one. And I want it to go to a specific place. In this case, it will be in block 45, and we will call it grids 2, and I will open it. It tells me that it read 28 points. which I know is correct because we ran down those two lines there and created two lines of 14. So that is good. We can see up at the top of the screen, CRD none. So we need to go, in order to draw these points, we need to open. We want to set that CRD file. Existing tab, correct folder, correct name, CRD. Open. Here it is, right there. Points, draw, locate. There's that darn circle again. I need to reset my defaults. 32. Draw all. There they are. All nice and neat. I can change those. Remember, we didn't like the 50. I wanted to bump the scale up to 200. Okay. Points, draw, locate. Because this box is checked, when we draw the points, it erases the duplicates. So I can hit draw all, and now all those little points got erased and were replaced with points that are objects that are 4 times as big. So there is the basics. From here we can save as, and it automatically went to the last folder that was open, block 45. So far we put everything in and out of the same folder. For convenience right here, this makes sense. If you're working with more than 2 or 3 folders, of course you're going to want to make a little bit more elaborate document control. So let's name this. File will be called grids 2, just for convenience, so that we know that DWG grids 2 contains CRD, or is the open file of the CRD file is grids 2, and we'll save it. So we can let's delimit this a little bit. I'm going to close this original file and not save. I'm going to open this original file in its original configuration. This is exactly like it was before we did anything at all. Everything's still in block form, whatever. Okay, so let's explode that so that we can isolate our grids. Okay, so there's that. CRD, points, set coordinate file, existing, Carlson projects, block 45 is the folder that we just saved this CRD to. We created and saved grids 2. That is the points that came out of the card and went back into a new drawing. And we can open that. Now that is our current CRD. We can draw, locate. Like I said, I need to go back and reset. When I made this template, I was working on a different scale, obviously. Okay. And point faults. 32. Okay. Points. Draw, locate. I'm going to leave the elevations off. I'm going to leave the descriptions off. and I will draw all. There's all the points that we just created in one drawing, exported onto the card, and then, as if it was a fresh set of points, we imported, converted, saved, redrew, and put them on top of these drawings, and you can see that everything came back right where it was supposed to go. One other thing we could do would be to close that, and let's try something slightly different here. Let's go to our AutoCAD. This little toolbar I assembled out of just a few specific tools. This button with the lower button with the question mark in it, unfortunately has no icon. I know is a button that I can click to change my menu pull down to AutoCAD. And this one is my survey button that goes to Carlson survey. So AutoCAD, insert external reference. From here, I can insert specific drawings. So if I go to this folder, I can insert this original shoring background with a scale, uniform, 1:1. Insertion point is 0, 0. Close that. I don't see it, so it must be somewhere, but it must be somewhere. So if I double click on the wheel, there we go. It's not clicked hard enough. Okay, so this is an XREF. This is a drawing that was brought in and overlaid on top of XREF on top of a blank drawing. And I could do the same thing again with my point file. So it automatically went to this last used folder. And in this case, I want to choose grids 2. That is a file that only has the points we created. So I can open it, and again, all the same insertion information. Okay, so this is a blank file with 2 files XREF'd into it. And you can see our points and our shoring drawing are both inserted. That kind of gives you an idea how to create points, save points, export points, import points, XREF points and or drawings. And that is that.